Welcome to Kingdom Passive Income, a podcast about entrepreneurs who discovered their dreams and how to fund it by partnering with God in creative ways. Each week, we deliver the best-in-class examples of stewardship of resources and ideas to inspire you to take the next step with what's in your hand. Now, here's your host, Eric Skeldon. What is going on? Welcome. We have a special broadcast today, Kingdom Passive Income. I'm super excited to introduce today's guest. You guys let us know where you're watching from. If you're watching on live or on the replay, it's Eric Skeldon from Wichita, Kansas. So I'm super excited to introduce Dave. We have Dave Goff, who after nearly 2 decades of vocational ministry, Dave was burned out and morbidly obese. He went on to lose 150 pounds and build a seven-figure business, coaching others in a health and wealthy mindset. I'm super excited to introduce Dave. I've been in Clubhouse with him, and his story and voice is powerful. And so super excited. Welcome, Dave, to the stage.
Man,
how are you doing, brother?
Here. I'm fantastic. Good to see you, man.
Dude, awesome. So Clubhouse has been all the riot. Everyone's going on there, adding so much value. You see people, all these gurus and coaches and everyone on there. But I feel like it's definitely a place where God is definitely infiltrating for the kingdom, and we're taking ground on there. And so, Dave, for people who don't know who you are, tell us your hero's journey, your story. It could be 5-minute talk. Like what? I want people to hear the inspiration to, when you speak and your story has, the power of your testimony. Tell your story because it's so powerful. And I think there's people all over America. We're eating processed foods. We're going after one thing. We're burnt out. We don't know how to, manage all this. We're overwhelmed. There's so much noise, Instagram, Facebook, all this junk out there. And, your story is so powerful on how God really helped you to navigate a seven-figure business and a mindset to really take care of our temple and, interior and exterior.
Yeah, man, I love the fact that you called it a hero's journey. Not that I looked at myself to be a hero, but something I share with our clients all the time is you are the hero of your own story. You can't look to anybody else to be that person for you. You have to decide what you want to do. And I got to tell you, I've always got a soft spot in my heart. I was a vocational minister for 18 years. I did it longer than that if you don't count the part that I didn't get paid for. But that was always my heart. But I got to tell you, just the way I show up in the world and taking on so much, I was morbidly obese. I'm 6'5". I know you can't tell in Zoom land here because we're definitely a little bit different these days, right? We're little boxes now. But I'm 6'5". But at one time I was 406 pounds. I was pastor of church. I was in pain all the time, feeling horrible, but I would show up and try to do my best to put on the face for people. And, it was always doing such good things for my heart and my soul. But man, physically, I was tanking. Financially, I was tanking. Ministry mindset was huge, but my own personal view of myself was tanking. And, it was a big shift. I had to get in touch with my why. I had to figure out what life was all about. So connected with a friend. He was doing some things. He led me in some paths to get healthy. And honestly, it was a quick turnaround for me. I decided being over 400 pounds was not something I wanted to ever be again. So I went on to lose 150 pounds. I've kept it off now for 5 years. We've helped literal thousands of other people do the same thing. But what I found in that journey was my story. I still look to myself as a minister. I still do ministry. We still speak. We still share. We still coach people. But what I found was, man, just partnering with people makes all the difference in the world. And the more you show up in the world, and I don't even know who needs to hear this today, but I think the word that I would have is if you want to make income, decide to make impact. When you make impact, the income will absolutely follow. And I've set my face toward making impact in people and sharing my story and helping them realize that there is literally nothing that can hold them back except for themselves. That's it. Does that help at all?
Dude, that's powerful. And you know what you said about impact is so key because as I'm a millennial and a lot of us like we're like passionate, we want to like do all these different things but
Yeah.
we also want to make an impact. One of the statistics that's interesting is millennials would rather make like 40,000 a year having a position that's impacting something, doing something that they love versus making like 120,000 doing something they hate that's just like making money and doing something. And so, finding something where you're able to impact the world and bring influence and income is like so key. So how did that like start happening? Was it just meeting that friend or surround yourself by someone who was able to help you and you just being willing to learn or
Absolutely. It's just getting in the right circles of people. I think oftentimes we look like those around us, and sometimes you have to change your circle to change your circumstance, right? And that is
write that down now.
yeah, that just came. I don't even know where that came from, but I think that's exactly what happened to me. I realized that for myself, I had to get around people who thought differently because my thoughts were aligning with their thoughts. And it's so funny. I share this with people all the time that my thoughts were so influenced by my past. And my past, frankly, all of us, our past doesn't even exist anymore, right? Our past is not accessible anymore. The only place it exists is in our memories. And yet our memories can be very flawed at times.
So tell us, I see that you're even still vulnerable enough. A lot of people would be like, they would never want to show anyone that they were 400 pounds before or that they had a gut, but tell us about how even showing for people who think like, man, I would never want to tell someone that I've overcame this or I've overcame that. But can you break down why and how showing your story and showing the being vulnerable actually can impact more people and make more people relate?
You know what I think people don't want to see these days? I think people don't want to see perfection. I truly do, which is tough because I'm a 1 on the Enneagram, right? So I'm a moral perfectionist, that reformer. And that was a hard thing for me to get my mind around. But I'll tell you this, God showed me this a long time ago. It was the idea that when David killed Goliath, he knocked him down with a rock, right? The rock sank into his forehead. But what really sealed the deal was when David went and drew Goliath's sword and cut the giant's head off. And I'm telling you, that's what happened in my life. And I love the end of that scene because David is walking away with the sword of Goliath in his hand to use against his own enemies. So what God showed me was that vulnerability, that willingness to step into something that maybe isn't something you're proud of, but yet that willingness to be vulnerable is literally getting the enemy's sword in your hand to use against your own enemies. And I think we'll never do that. We'll never get that if we always act like we got our stuff all together. We're looking for people that are just real and raw, and that's what connects. They connect more with your weakness than your strength.
So good. And so, what is the biggest challenge for America, for believers, for people that we're so busy, so we stop at Wendy's all the time or McDonald's and it's cheap, right? It's like $3, get a 4 for $4, So what is the biggest challenge of doing that? And then what is some practical things that people listening that want to say, hey, Dave, I want to do it, but I just I don't know how. Like, what do I do? What are some practical 3 steps so we can even be like they can implement this week?
Yeah, I love that, man. And honestly, 3 steps. I could give you 1 step. Mm-hmm. I'll ask a question. What do you want?
Got it.
That sounds so simple. I get it. Some of y'all are like,
no, it's huge. No, that is huge.
No, what do you want? Deeply, what do you want? Do you want Wendy's drive-through, or do you want to feel good in your own skin? Do you want to stop and get something because you're too tired, it's been a long day, or do you want to plan before your day happens to you? You'd rather happen to your day, right?
Wow.
I think that is the biggest thing is so many people. Oh man, it feels like I can preach right now. So people are drifting through life. We're coasting. Say it that way. We're just coasting. We're just kind of going along with the flow instead of creating, right? But we're all created in the image of a creator with the ability to create. So literally at this moment, considering again, the past no longer exists, all you have is this moment right now. What do you choose to do with that? You can keep coasting from what brought you here, or you can create what'll take you there. And it's as simple as that.
Wow.
What do you want?
Wow. So how did you, speaking of mindset's everything. We have to believe it. We have to, one, ask ourselves, what do we want? Write it down, visualize it, and believe it. Like, I want health, I want wealth, and we have to, I want wisdom, like King Solomon, out of everything he wanted wisdom, and he was given everything. So as we want wisdom, we want these, to be wealthy, or to surround ourselves by people who are going to help us. How does someone who's in a situation where they're just like, man, I have all these broke friends, but I want to help them and I want to help everyone, but then they just end up, everyone else influences them. How do they get out of that situation?
Man, I look at it like it's easier to to pull a chain than push one.
Wow.
Right?
Easier to pull a chain than push one.
Yeah. Think about that. If you try to push a chain or a rope, it's just going to bunch up and nothing's going to happen. But if something pulls that, everything lines up, right?
Oh.
So I'll look at it like that. To me, it's the difference in extrinsic and intrinsic motivation. I think so often people want a coach to come like kind of smack them around sort of in their mindset and say, hey, move forward. But honestly, that doesn't work. Nobody can shove us into the future we want. What we have to do, again, getting back to what do I want with my life, not only just that, who am I? Not who was I in my past. No, today, right now, the only breath I have, what do I choose right now? And literally from this point forward, I get to define who I am, right? So in this moment, it's about creating intrinsic motivation. In fact, look at it like this. I love the acronym AIM. If you want to figure out where to go, AIM, right? It's a target. You take AIM, awaken intrinsic motivation. Figure out what it is within you that's drawing you, pulling you, just leading you toward the future you desire. And it's like you're going to create this. You've heard of a structural tension chart, right? I love the illustration of just a rubber band. In fact, some of you guys need to just go to FedEx and buy a whole bunch of rubber bands, put some on your wrist, because it'll remind you. If you look at life and where I am today, it's like you're holding a rubber band in your hand. Then you stretch that rubber band to where I want to get to. And I love this imagery that it could be health, it could be wealth, it could be a circle of people you're in, it could be your spiritual walk, whatever. There's a current reality and there's a desired outcome. And there's this stretch in between. The problem is, we look at this all the time and there's this stretch in between, and we allow our desired outcome to settle back down toward our current reality. What we have to do, though, is stretch ourselves and then build steps in between that's going to pull us up to what we want. So we start at the top. What do I want in life? What do I want my health to look like, my relationships to look like? And then just reverse engineer everything backward to say, okay, here's the thing, deathbed, right? On my deathbed, what do I want life to feel like? Man, I want to be healthy. I want to die at an old age, right? So that means I need to do some things differently. I want to be married to my spouse. I want to have kids that love me and respect me. I want to leave a legacy in people more than I want to leave a legacy for people, right? So you do all of these things and you figure out who you are on your deathbed in a perfect scenario. And then you work backwards. Okay, if I want a good relationship with my spouse, how do I need to show up today? What do I need to say today? What do I need to do? Plan. What about with my kids? What about with my financial situation? That job, that idea in my gut that I keep feeling like I've got to have this thing happen, but I just can't escape the 9 to 5 to do that. Maybe it's time. Maybe it's time, because honestly, regret is on you. Ooh, that'll preach, won't it?
Yeah, regret is on you.
Regret is on you. Regret is completely controllable on your end.
So talk about, a lot of Kingdom Passive Income, a lot of the community, they're learning how to make money online. And we're living in a time now where more people are unemployed or underemployed, or they're just not happy where they're at, right? They're not doing what they love. They're not passionate about what they do. They're just doing it because, hey, I'm working in this factory because, this is what life handed to me, and this is the best that life's going to get. Yeah. What can you say about dreams or going after your dreams and visions, especially if God has given it to you, but you just don't know what to do with it?
Yeah, I think you have to start. That's what I think. I think you have to begin. And maybe that beginning is reaching out to somebody else that's done it too. Maybe it's hiring a coach. Maybe it's getting around a different circle of people that can inspire you. But I do think this, that if you're looking to yourself to have the motivation doesn't always come. Sometimes you got to choose motivation. You got to create motivation. And I think so often we sit back and we wait for the moment to come instead of us going to the moment. I really do.
Wow. Yeah. And even that, with this, with this, even like this, like I told you, Kingdom Passive Income, I had a coach. The first person I interviewed I interview a lot of coaches because it's like free coaching for me. I just interview. And but anyways, and it was a coach in New Zealand, and his name was Joseph. And I told him, man, I want to do this, like Kingdom Passive Income. I'm going to do this. Like, we're going to launch it like this, blah, blah. He's like, dude, let's just do it. You're going to interview me on Facebook. You already have a Facebook group of 300 people. Yeah. We're going to go serve that community. Just launch it on YouTube. Get your content. You can launch you could put it to, Anchor FM anytime or wherever, anytime. And then I just did that like 6 months ago. Same thing with this e-commerce store. Like, that's one of my brands, this rainbow lion, the Lion of Judah. And so God showed me this, I don't know if you can see, or let me move the mic. So this brand, Kingdom Dominion, Genesis 1:28, be fruitful, multiply, and take dominion over the land. So God gave me this brand, Kingdom Dominion, and I see all these young people like creating Shopify stores. And so I just went on YouTube and was like, dude, these people are crushing in e-commerce. Like, I could do it if all these people can do it. So I just did it, and I took imperfect action, and now I have like over 100 customers, and I'm not a millionaire from e-commerce yet, but the foundation I learned by imperfectly just going for it, and podcasting and this, I'm like 10 steps ahead of people who are just like, oh, what do I do?
Bro, you're preaching, man. That's it. It's the idea that imperfect action is better than perfect inaction.
Yeah, because then you want to be perfect. We never do anything. We just sit there and be like, I have to go in and be the best speaker. And then Tony Robbins is if Tony Robbins ever called on me, I'm just going to go up on stage and deliver the best speech. No, the people who I know that will deliver the best speech, they're doing it in the mirror. They're doing it in front of 5 people, in front of 2 people, in front of themselves. They're doing it like for 10 years. And then when Tony Robbins calls them and gives them 2 minutes to say, hey, what's your story? They're like, dude, here's my story. And Tony's like, dude, what? Are you kidding me?
No overnight success at all. People have done it and done it and done it. And again, it goes back to that point earlier that people aren't looking for you to be perfect. They're just looking for you. If they were looking for perfect, they wouldn't be looking for us, right? They want somebody to inspire them to say, wow, if they can do it, I can do it, right? And I feel like that's where my successes come from, because it's just been, if I can do it, anybody can do it. That's it.
I love it. And that, I feel like God picks like the people like that. That's like, for me, I was stuttering Stanley. I struggled in school. I was a class clown, and God took me through business school and then to like help me pass and get through business school after failing math 3 times. I failed college math 3 times. I failed economics a couple times, but God got me through it, and then became a multi-million-dollar salesperson in corporate America. And now over the past 2 years, now I help people find their gift and turn it online and do stuff digitally, which God positioned me for this and took me out of corporate America before COVID and had me learn about everything digital marketing.
Awesome.
That's how cool God is, because he knows when, if someone's gonna, COVID's gonna come or this is gonna happen, and you need to be planned and prepared for a famine or feast.
Absolutely, man. That's powerful.
So talk about Dave, family, and like how do you manage being married? And I don't know, do you have kids as well?
I do. 14-year-old daughter. Absolutely.
14. So how do you manage being, a 7-figure business owner and family? Because I think before, for me, I look, if you have a successful business, that's one thing. I see a lot of young people like, oh, I did $10 million at ClickFunnels. It's good for me. I just party a lot. And it's like, dude, that doesn't like really impress me, because they're no faith. They're still miserable. They're still having depression and anxiety. And it's like, I don't want that life. And just, and so I want to look at people who are doing, 7-figure business, but then their kids still love them. Their kids are like, man, my dad, I want to be just like my dad,
Yeah. I'm super blessed, and I will give God props for that, because I think it's him. It's his hand that's given me what I have. I've got the best wife, the best daughter. We have phenomenal relationships together. My daughter and I jam out on the guitar together all the time. She's musically talented, and my wife works a business with me. You probably have seen her walking around through the house back here. But I mean, we're living the proverbial dream, but we're still dreaming, right? It's this idea that you can create it. But I think that the issue is we think we're all striving for balance in life, and I think balance is an absolute myth. I don't think balance works.
There's no such thing as balance, huh?
There's not. It's harmony. It's like how can this ebb and flow work, right? How can this work together? And I think it's all about, again, I was just on a coaching call right before I got on this podcast, and it was about, this guy was asking me questions. How do I even start? And I said, well, first of all, do you have a plan? He said, well, not really. I'm like, well, there you go. I mean, it's as simple as that. I mean, and again, it doesn't matter what it is. Choose a plan. The best part is you get to doing a plan, and you're going to determine pretty quickly if that plan is working best for you or not, right? And you can adjust as you go. But again, it goes back to so many people just won't start.
Yeah.
When you start doing anything and then grow, and that's how you grow, is you start and you learn what works well and what doesn't. So the beauty of this is this. We look at everybody else and say, well, they've got a silver spoon in their mouth when they were born. You know, these guys had a better situation than I had. The thing is, it's all about time and decisions. That is it. We all have so many hours in a day, and we all have the capability to decide. And people have simply decided better. So when it comes to me and my schedule and my family and the things that I want at the end of my life on my deathbed, I have to reverse engineer that and say, how do I show up today to be that man then? In fact, I'll even say this. If you're looking for the best mentor in your life, hire a coach, hire people to speak into you. I'll tell you the best mentor you could ever have, it's yourself in the future. It's your ideal self, the person that's crushed it and done all the things that you feel called to do, the person with that ministry, that career, that impact, that influence, that family structure. Let that guy 90 years from now counsel you on how to show up today and build something.
So how do they do that? So how do they, start? They got to start seeing themselves as, I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a, $1 million, business owner. And then so as they see themselves as that, and then reverse engineer the plan, how do I get there over the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? What are some ways that you have done that in your life to actually speak it, see it, and then actually go and do it?
Man, it is an absolute confidence thing. It is. And I'm telling you, I think why I've embraced this so well is I spent a whole lot of years faking confidence because I was 406 pounds at one time. I mean, big guy, right? And I don't even have hair on top of that. That's why I wear a hat on here, man, because this is blinding, right? So I had all these reasons as to why I shouldn't be confident. What I had to do was break up with what my past was speaking over my life today.
Tell a new story. Wow.
Yeah, because honestly, it's just stories. It's just memories. In fact, Mark Batterson says the difference between success and failure is the story you tell yourself.
Come on.
Right? So for me, I had to say, okay, today, forget yesterday. Yesterday's gone. I can never access it again. Today, who do I choose to be? Like when I first started coaching, I had to decide, am I a coach? The thing is, you can't coach people without being a coach. Mm-hmm. You have to start before you begin, right? So there comes a point where I have to decide who I am before I ever take the step. It's kind of like this. If I was to ask you, how about I'll put it on myself. I never played basketball. I was always I was tall, but I wasn't really, I wasn't of the physique to play basketball in high school. Mm-hmm. And so people will say, hey, Dave, do you play basketball? And I would always say, no, I don't. Well, my question now would be, well, what about today? Because my past got me to here, but my today gets me there. So I, at any given moment, can decide who I am, and my actions will prove it over time.
Your actions will prove it over time. Wow, that's so good, y'all. Write this down, and man, I'm taking notes. That's what I'm taking notes in here in the chat. But man, this is just fire, Dave. Dave, so what final thoughts and encouragement for listeners, in 2021, what would be your final encouragement to to the listeners and to the people. You've been such an inspiration. I love everything you said. It's people are going to be impacted by this for a
Awesome,
long
man.
time.
That is my number one goal with the breath I breathe. I want to impact people and help people. My encouragement to you is don't believe one more second that you can't do whatever that thing is in your gut. Don't believe for one more second. Push every excuse out of your head. Partner with the right people. Dream big. Then dream a little bit bigger. Then add a couple of decimal places, right? Keep increasing that. And then just start. My goodness, don't wait for everything to fall into place. Just start. Reach out. Do the thing. Have the conversation. I think you just need to go for it. That's what I think.
Man, that's so good. That gives me encouragement because I was getting like some kind of like thoughts about this podcast, like, oh, you're not doing it good enough. This, some of your, friends who are crushing it, like, and like, kind of like where you want to be. Yeah. They're like, like 7-figure masterminds and coaching programs and all this and their podcast, they relaunched it and it gets like 50. I saw like, but like 55 star on Apple. And I was like, man, if I launched my stuff today, like, would I get 55 star? And I was like, those thoughts were coming to my head, and I was like, but it doesn't matter. It's like I look at what I'm doing, and then I talk to some of the people who I'm helping, and they're like, just trying to get to the thought of like, how do I just start? And so like, it doesn't matter if it's like, if you're at this level where you're like Tony Robbins, blah blah, and versus, as wherever you are today, you can keep just getting better and better and better.
Absolutely, impact people. That's it.
Come on. So Dave, where can people find you? Just want to honor you for being on here. Thanks for being on Kingdom Passive Income. You're welcome anytime. And so where can people find you? How can they follow you and support you?
Awesome. At David Ray Goff on Instagram or Facebook. And that's the best way to get a hold of me. It's absolutely an honor to be on here, man. I love what you're doing. And for the record, I don't have a podcast, so you just one up to me. All right. So just keep doing what you're doing, man. You're making a huge impact on people.
Is that spelled right, David Ray Goff?
That's it, man. That's it.
So yeah, you guys go follow him on social media, Clubhouse, Instagram, and everywhere. And David, I'll see you offline in a second. Thanks to everyone for being on. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace, everyone.